The human research ship moved quietly through the blue mist of deep space. Inside it, many species worked together, but humans were still the strangest among them. They looked soft, had no natural armor, no claws, no venom. Many aliens believed humans survived only because of machines and tools. Evan Cole was one of those humans. He was a systems engineer, once a ground soldier long ago, now assigned to help maintain shared technology on the ship. He was calm, polite, and spoke little. Most aliens thought he was harmless. Some thought he was weak. Evan did not care. He did his work, fixed broken systems, and slept when he could. That day had been long. A power failure in the lower decks had forced him to work for almost 30 hours without real rest. By the time he returned to his assigned sleeping chamber, his hands were shaking from exhaustion. His eyes burned. His body ached in a way only humans seemed to understand. Humans on the ship were required to wear a special device while resting. The aliens called it a covering tool, but its true purpose was to regulate temperature, control hormones, and prevent unwanted biological reactions in mixed environments. It was standard, mandatory. Evan removed it anyway. He told himself it would be only for a few hours. The device felt heavy, tight. He needed real rest. He placed it on the small table beside his bed, lay down, and closed his eyes. Sleep took him instantly. On the other side of the ship, Lyra paused outside his chamber. Lyra was not human. She came from a species that valued control above all else. Her people had evolved to suppress instinct. Their bodies did nothing without conscious command. No reaction happened by accident. To them, biology was something mastered, not endured. She had been sent to check on Evan after sensors detected irregular life sign patterns in his room. Nothing dangerous, the system said, but unusual. And humans were known for becoming dangerous without warning. At least, that was what her people believed. She hesitated before opening the door. Humans required privacy, but safety came first. The door slid open with a soft sound. The room was dim. Evan lay on the bed, unmoving, breathing slow and deep. At first, everything seemed normal. Lyra relaxed slightly and stepped inside. Then she noticed something was wrong. The covering tool was not on him. Her eyes widened. Without it, the human body was exposed to its natural functions. Her training told her this could be dangerous. Humans were known to have violent physical responses tied to unconscious states. She moved closer, scanning him with her wrist device. That was when she saw it. His body showed a clear physical change, a sign of internal activation she had never seen before. It was not subtle. It was obvious. Her scanned device beeped sharply as it tried to classify the condition. Lyra froze. In her culture, such a reaction only happened before combat or death. It was a sign of extreme aggression or biological malfunction. Her mind raced. Was he transforming? Was this a weapon response? Had the human body entered some kind of attack state? She backed away slowly, her heart racing. Evan did not move. He slept peacefully, unaware. Lyra swallowed and opened a ship-wide medical channel. Her voice shook as she spoke. Medical team required. Human crew member exhibiting uncontrolled biological activation while unconscious. Possible threat level unknown. Within minutes, 2 medical officers arrived, 1 alien and 1 human. They rushed into the room, ready for emergency containment. The human doctor took one look and sighed. "It's fine," he said calmly. Lyra stared at him in disbelief. "Fine, his body is clearly preparing for nothing," the doctor interrupted gently. "He's asleep." The alien medic tilted their head. "Explain." The human doctor walked over and checked Evan's vitals. "This is a natural response, happens during deep rest, especially after stress." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "You mean this activation is normal?" "Yes." "Uncontrolled?" "Yes." "Without conscious command?" "Yes." She felt her stomach twist. "Then how do humans survive?" The doctor smiled faintly. "By being human." They adjusted Evan's position and placed a light medical blanket over him. The human doctor picked up the covering tool and hesitated. "He needed rest," he said quietly. "We'll let him sleep a bit longer." Lyra could not look away from Evan. Her fear slowly turned into confusion, then curiosity. "How can a species allow such reactions?" she asked. "What if it triggers violence?" The doctor shook his head. "It doesn't. It's just biology doing its job, no thoughts, no intent." Lyra struggled to understand. In her world, anything the body did reflected the mind. To lose control was to invite chaos. They left the room quietly. Lyra remained outside the door long after. Over the next few days, she observed Evan more closely. He laughed with others. He worked until his hands were raw. He volunteered for dangerous repairs without complaint. There was no sign of aggression, no hidden threat. Still, she remembered what she had seen. When the ship was suddenly struck by a drifting debris field, chaos erupted. Power failed. Gravity flickered. Several crew members were trapped in a damaged corridor. Evan was among the first to respond. Without hesitation, he entered the unstable section, lifting heavy debris that no alien could move. His body trembled under the strain, but he did not stop. He shielded others with his own frame, took injuries without slowing. Lyra watched from the command deck, stunned. That strange biological reaction she had feared was part of the same system that let him endure pain, exhaustion, and fear. It was not aggression. It was survival. When the crisis ended, Evan collapsed into a chair, breathing hard but smiling. Later, Lyra approached him. "You slept without your covering tool," she said carefully. He blinked, then sighed. "Yeah, guess I shouldn't have. I was afraid," she admitted. "I thought you were becoming dangerous." He laughed softly. "I was just tired." She studied him, seeing him differently now. "Humans are strange," she said. He nodded. "We know." As she walked away, Lyra realized something unsettling. Humans were not weak because they lacked control. They were strong because their bodies protected them even when their minds were resting. And that made them far more dangerous than anyone had ever understood. The days after the debris incident changed the way the crew looked at humans. Before, humans were treated like useful helpers, strong enough for lifting, smart enough for machines, but still seen as fragile, emotional, and unpredictable. After what Evan had done, opinions began to shift. Lyra felt that change more than anyone. She found herself watching Evan when he worked, not with fear now, but with interest. He moved with quiet focus, fixing damaged systems, crawling through tight spaces, enduring heat and cold without complaint. His body carried marks of strain, small injuries he ignored or treated casually. To Lyra's species, pain was a signal to stop. To humans, it was a message they could choose to ignore. That idea unsettled her. One cycle later, the ship entered a dangerous region of space. Long-range scanners picked up distorted signals. The navigation AI struggled to maintain stable readings. Something was interfering with normal systems. The captain ordered all engineering teams to stand by. Evan was called to the main engine ring. "This area messes with electronics," the chief engineer explained. "Human instincts seem less affected. We need you inside." Evan nodded and suited up. Lyra watched him prepare. She noticed his breathing slow, his posture change. His body seemed to enter a focused state, like a switch had been flipped. There was no panic, no hesitation. She remembered the medical explanation. Humans had internal systems that activated without thought, systems that prepared them for survival. Evan entered the engine ring alone. Inside, gravity pulsed irregularly. The walls vibrated. Warning lights flashed in patterns that made no sense. Evan felt pressure in his chest but pushed forward. He used his hands when tools failed, forcing open jammed panels, reconnecting damaged conduits. Outside, Lyra monitored his vitals. His heart rate was high. Stress chemicals surged through his body. But instead of shutting down, his performance improved. His reactions sharpened. His strength increased. Lyra whispered to herself, "Impossible." Her people would collapse under such conditions. Then the alarms changed. A foreign ship appeared on the edge of sensor range. Its shape was sharp and unfamiliar. It did not respond to communication requests. Its weapons powered up immediately. The captain's voice was tight. "Hostile contact. All hands prepare for impact." The alien ship fired. Energy struck the research vessel's side. Hull plating burned. Atmosphere vented in one section. Crew members were thrown from their stations. Evan felt the impact through the floor. He knew the engine ring could overload if the damage spread. If that happened, the ship would be destroyed. He did not wait for orders. He sealed a breach manually, bracing himself against explosive pressure. The force slammed into him, crushing air from his lungs. Pain exploded across his body, but his muscles held, his hands bled, his vision blurred. Still, he did not let go. Outside, Lyra stared at the readings in disbelief. Evan's body should have failed. Any other species would be unconscious or dead. Instead, his vital signs stabilized, not because the danger was gone, but because his body adapted. "Human engineering team," the captain called urgently. "We're losing containment." "I've got it," Evan gasped through the comm. He rerouted power, bypassed safety limits, and forced the engine into a controlled surge. The ship lurched, then vanished from enemy sensors in a burst of light. They escaped. Silence filled the bridge. Moments later, Evan collapsed inside the engine ring. Medical teams rushed to him. Lyra followed, her heart pounding in a way her species rarely experienced. Evan was alive. Injured, yes, exhausted beyond measure, but alive. As he rested in the medical bay, Lyra stood nearby, watching machines work around him. The human doctor from before adjusted readings calmly. "You see now?" the doctor asked softly. Lyra nodded slowly. "What I saw before," she said, "was not danger." "No," the doctor replied, "it was potential." Lyra looked at Evan's hands, wrapped in bandages, hands that had held back disaster. "When humans lose control," she said, "they do not become monsters." The doctor smiled. "They become survivors." When Evan woke, Lyra was still there. He blinked, confused. "Did we make it?" "Yes," she said, "because of you." He tried to sit up, failed, and laughed weakly. "Guess I overdid it." "You exceeded every known biological limit," Lyra said seriously. "That sounds bad. It is impressive." For the first time, Evan saw her not as a distant alien observer, but as someone trying to understand him. "You were afraid of me," he said gently. She did not deny it. "I was wrong." "No," Evan replied, "you were careful." "That's not wrong." She studied his face. Humans showed emotion openly. Pain, relief, humor, there was no shame in it. "I thought your kind was dangerous because you lack control," she said. Evan shook his head slowly. "We don't lack control, we choose when to use it." That answer stayed with her. Later, during a formal review, Lyra spoke before the Council of Mixed Species Officers. "Humans are not unstable," she said clearly. "They are adaptive. Their bodies respond to danger without fear, without permission. This does not make them weak." She paused, then added, "It makes them essential." The Council recorded her statement. As the ship moved back into safe space, Lyra walked past Evan's quarters. The door was closed. He was resting again. This time, she felt no fear, only respect. And somewhere deep within her controlled, disciplined mind, a new thought formed, quiet, unsettling, and powerful. If humans could survive even while sleeping, what could they do when fully awake? The ship moved steadily through the quiet stretch of space, but peace was only temporary. Scanners picked up an unusual signal, a massive energy field ahead that distorted the sensors and made navigation uncertain. The captain ordered full crew readiness. Aliens murmured nervously. Humans remained calm. Evan Cole was awake in his quarters, slowly stretching his tired body. His muscles ached from the previous crisis, but the rest had allowed his body to repair itself quickly. The covering tool was back on him now, standard precaution. He rubbed his hands and checked his equipment. Nothing felt broken. He felt ready. Lyra arrived at his quarters quietly. She had spent days observing him, learning how humans endured more than anyone expected. Her curiosity had grown into admiration. She knocked gently. "Enter," Evan said, his voice tired but steady. She stepped in, glancing around. "Another crisis," she said. "The scanners cannot read the energy field ahead. It's unstable. Most species refuse to approach." Evan nodded. "We'll figure it out." Lyra studied him. "You will?" she asked, almost skeptically. He shrugged. "We have to. No one else can fix the power and protect the crew at the same time. You've seen what I can do." She swallowed, remembering how his body had survived impossible strain. "I have. I'm still trying to understand it." He smiled faintly. "You'll understand eventually. It's human nature." The alien girl followed him to the engine ring, where systems flickered unpredictably. Energy crackled across the floor. Gravity was unstable. The crew had begun securing loose equipment. The alien engineers worked cautiously, checking readings, but Evan moved forward without hesitation. Lyra's eyes never left him. He knelt near the main conduit, his hands working quickly to reconnect damaged circuits. Sparks jumped near his fingers. He flinched but did not stop. Lyra's scanners confirmed what she already knew: humans could endure extreme stress without giving up. Her species would have collapsed under even a fraction of the pressure. "Evan," she called, "be careful, the energy spikes are—" "I know," he interrupted calmly. "I've handled worse." Her heart pounded. She realized something then: humans did not rely on luck. They relied on their bodies, their instincts, and their willingness to push forward no matter the risk. The energy field surged. Warning lights flashed red. Alarms echoed throughout the ship. Several crew members were pinned against walls by sudden gravity shifts. Evan leaped across the unstable floor, lifting debris and moving them to safety with strength and precision that seemed impossible for someone so human. Lyra could barely follow his movements with her eyes. When the main conduit ignited in sparks, Evan grabbed a replacement circuit from his belt. He jammed it into the connection manually, ignoring the burns from the arcs of electricity. A crackling surge ran through him, but he held on, forcing the power back online. The engine stabilized. The field outside the ship dissipated slightly, enough to allow the sensors to work again. Medical teams rushed forward, ready to tend to injuries. But Evan stood, breathing heavily, looking around calmly. His body bore small wounds, his clothes scorched, yet his eyes were clear and focused. He looked almost untouchable. Lyra approached him, her legs shaking slightly. "You did it," she said quietly. "You saved everyone." He nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "It's what we do." Her species valued perfection, control, and precision. Humans had none of those qualities consistently, yet they survived situations impossible to predict. And now she understood why. Humans adapted in ways no machine or device could match. Their strength was not in armor or weapons. It was in their biology, their mind, and their will. The captain entered the engine ring, his face serious but proud. "Evan Cole, you've earned the gratitude of every species aboard this ship," he said. "Your actions, your survival, your endurance have changed the way we see humans." Evan shrugged modestly. "Just doing my job." The alien crew members began murmuring among themselves. Some still found humans strange, unpredictable, and even frightening. But even they could not deny what they had just witnessed. Survival instinct, courage, endurance, humans had it all naturally and in ways no other species could replicate. Lyra stayed close, her eyes fixed on him. "I understand now," she said softly. "The thing I feared was actually your strength." Evan looked at her and smiled faintly. "Strength comes in many forms. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's quiet, and sometimes it shows when no one expects it." She studied him, realizing the truth in his words. Humans did not need covering tools to survive, though they helped. Their bodies and minds were enough to endure crises far beyond alien imagination. That quiet, hidden strength made them unpredictable, but also invaluable. Later, in the crew mess, conversations swirled. Aliens discussed human resilience openly, even admiringly. Humans laughed quietly among themselves, sharing stories of endurance, hardship, and simple survival. The contrast was striking. Where other species relied on rules and control, humans thrived in chaos, improvising solutions, pushing their limits, and always protecting their own. Lyra sat quietly, watching. Her respect for Evan had grown into something deeper. Humans were not perfect. They were flawed, impulsive, sometimes reckless, but that was precisely what made them powerful. Their unpredictability, their persistence, and their natural survival instincts were beyond calculation. She remembered the moment she first saw him without the covering tool. What had shocked her then was not shameful, dangerous, or weak. It was a glimpse of the potential humans carried inside them at all times, the power of adaptation and endurance that could overcome even the most extreme challenges. That night, she returned to Evan's quarters. He was resting, a calm expression on his face. The covering tool hummed lightly at his side. She stepped inside quietly and stood near his bed. "You survived everything today," she said softly, "and it has taught me something. Humans are stronger than I ever imagined." Evan opened his eyes slightly, smiled, and closed them again. "Strength isn't always about fighting," he said. "Sometimes it's just being able to keep going when nothing else seems possible." She nodded, understanding fully for the first time. Humans had a power that was both simple and extraordinary. It did not need explanation. It did not need recognition. It existed quietly, naturally, in every cell of their bodies and every choice they made to endure. For Lyra, that knowledge changed everything. She no longer feared the human body, its strange reactions, or its unpredictability. She respected it. She admired it. And she began to see the humans not as fragile creatures, but as a species capable of surviving and thriving where others could not. The ship continued through space, carrying its crew forward. Unknown dangers awaited them in the darkness: asteroid storms, energy fields, and hostile species. But now, the presence of humans and the quiet, unstoppable strength of Evan Cole made even the most impossible threats seem manageable. The alien girl stood silently by his side, watching him rest. She understood now that humans were a force unlike any other. Not because they were weapons, machines, or perfect beings, but because they were human. They survived, they adapted, and they endured. And that endurance, that quiet, unassuming power would carry them through the stars.